lower federal courts, judicial review refers to the way in which the judicial branch fits into the system of checks and balances. Federal courts has the right and the power to overturn any congressional or state legislation or any official government action. The lower federal courts with the U.S. Supreme Court comprise the three tiers or the judicial branch. The lower federal courts include U.S. Courts of Appeals, U.S. District Courts, U.S. Bankruptcy Courts, U.S. Court of Special Judiciary.
Appellate courts, also known as the U.S. Court of Appeals, hear appeals from the district courts in the 94 federal judicial districts. These 94 districts are organized into 12 regional circuits with a U.S. District Court of Appeals in each district. Each Court of Appeals has jurisdiction over its circuit. Additionally, the Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has nationwide jurisdiction over specialized cases, primarily tax, patent, international trade, and appeals.
District courts. The United States district courts are the trial courts of the federal court system. Within limits set by the Congress and the Constitution, the district courts have the jurisdiction to hear nearly all categories of federal cases, including both civil and criminal matters. Every day, hundreds of people across the nation are selected for jury duty and help decide some of these cases.
Bankruptcy courts. Each of the 94 federal judicial districts handles bankruptcy matters, and in almost all districts, bankruptcy cases are filed in the bankruptcy court. Bankruptcy cases cannot be filed in state court. Bankruptcy laws help people who can no longer pay their creditors get a fresh start by liquidating their assets to pay their debts, or by creating a repayment plan.
Special jurisdiction. The term specialty courts can be defined very broadly to include all kinds of civil and criminal courts that has been established to deal with a specific type of case of a specific problem. While these courts may not always been a separate court, they can involve separate docket or calendar and include such issues as complex litigation, tax issues, environmental issues, or court accessibility issues.
Well, there are several parallel systems that operate simultaneously. Some people would say that the federal system is the highest system. That's in some ways true, but the federal system generally deals with larger disputes, larger civil disputes where a lot of money is at stake, or very serious federal crimes. The state system is much larger and handles many, many more cases per year. And the state system is the system that most people will come into contact with. Even more people will come into contact with the local system, the municipal courts, small claims courts, traffic courts, family courts. It can be somewhat confusing, but there are a number of courts that are operating at the same time. And then within any particular system, for instance, within the federal system, there is a hierarchy of courts. There's the district court, which is where the trials occur. If someone doesn't like the verdict there, there's a court of appeals that the case can be appealed to. And then there's, of course, the United States Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land. And there's a similar system of levels of courts in the state system and in the local courts as well. Once you're in one system, you stay in that system until you've exhausted that system. You don't jump between the state and the federal courts, with very, very few exceptions. There would be an exception in a criminal case on occasion. If you've gone to the highest court of your state court, again, this would apply to very few people because it would involve a very serious crime. Then, on occasion, you could go to the federal system. But as a general rule, you work your way up in the system that you're in. However, fewer than 5% of all cases get from the bottom level to the top level. It's very, very few. You can think of it as a pyramid. The lowest court handles a large number of disputes, and then a few come up to the next level, and then fewer still come up to the highest level. Most people resolve it at the lower level.